Hola, hi.
What's up, my people?
This is your girl, Nessa, baby.
Right.
And it's your boy, your one and only, Dr. Dim.
Okay, and we're back with Justin with the Dims.
It's Justin with the Dims, y'all.
I heard we're back with another nice topic, interesting topic. This is episode 6. All right, if you didn't listen to the other episodes, make sure you go back to episode 1 and listen. All right. Okay, so we're talking about navigating adult friendships. Why is it so hard to maintain or get new friendships as an adult? So we're going to talk about how it is to make and maintain friendships as an adult, why it's complicated, and also just talking a little bit about why it was so easy to make friendships when we were younger, as like in school, in college, or as a child.
I don't want to wait to get into this one. The reason is, I think the answer is very, very easy and straightforward.
Okay, let's discuss. Let's break it down. All right.
Maybe ladies first this time around.
Okay, so why is adults' friendships so different from childhood and college friendships? Well, I think that as a child, you become friends with who you become friends with because of school. You're in school. You have no choice. You're in school, you go to the same class, you have the same teacher, you go to the same birthday parties, you're maybe in a sport together. So you basically just become friends, and it's so simple. There's nothing complicated because you both like the same thing. Maybe you like certain candy or whatnot, certain sneakers. So it's so genuine and easy, and it's even more easier if your parents are already friends, and that's what made you guys become friends. So it makes things more smoother to keep that friendship. And then when you go into college, that's when it becomes a little bit more difficult because you're still trying to figure out who you are, what you like, what are your hobbies. But still, I feel like it's still much easier becoming friends or making friends in college because you're stuck in the building or the campus, and you're going to class, same thing. You make friends because you have the same class together, or you join different sorority groups or African association or different black association clubs, and that's how you become friends, or you become friends over drama. That's one. I'll give you an example of one way I became really good friends with my really core girlfriends from college. We became friends because we were all transfers into the college, and there was some drama in the African Association Club, and we were circled in that drama I can't even get into those stories because it's a long story, but long story short, we bonded over the drama of the girls that didn't like us. We bonded through that, and that's how we became friends, and the rest is history in terms of that, and we're still friends till today. Yeah, that's that. I feel like it's much easier to make friends when you're in college and you're a child, but when you get into adulthood, life starts to life. So people move away, different places, and then you get married, have kids. Just, work starts to get busy, or you have businesses, and life just hits you, and it becomes even more difficult to maintain those friendships.
Yeah.
Let me hear from you.
I mean,
your experience.
When it comes to friendships, at least with regards to not just friendships right now, but more like friendships that you probably had when you were younger, I think those were those friendships that you made which was based on just pure excitement about having someone that you can play with. I think that was just all it was. Someone that you feel like you could have fun with. There wasn't really an expectation of what anybody really brought to the table per se. You were still a part of the crew, irrespective of what you were offering to the crew. Because, of course, like as kids, like everybody has different access. Certain kids had the opportunity to allow that, they grew up in a family where their parents were like cool with them playing games, the what they liked. and always provided them with the newer games they were being released. And then some of us were like more like those that our parents kind of like didn't necessarily like the idea of us playing games. We wanted us to be more studious and stuff. So because of all those different kind of backgrounds that people can come from, as a kid, we are very understanding of everybody's plight. In fact, sometimes some guys were just cool guys, like, and that's the reason why they were part of the group, just because they were cool. Like, meaning that they don't have any issues with anybody, they don't want to have any particular opinions about any specific thing that's so strong that will make them kind of fall out of the group. So they were just like chill, pretty much. And that was the reason why.
This is from like high school, right?
Yeah,
that's when I feel like cliques start to form.
Yeah, I think that's more. I think that's like from the age when a child is now self-aware. I feel like anytime from that point is what I'm trying to describe here. I mean, there isn't really an expectation for what anybody who was going to be a friend at that point should have to bring or should have to offer. But as we start to get older, life starts to deal different cards, right? And everybody starts to experience different things. Starting with like, you're now trying to move to a different stage in your life. Say now you were like in high school or secondary school, let me put it that way. And then you are going to the university. And there are exams that you take, certain things, that qualifications that you need to get to different schools and opportunities.
Yeah.
Some people at that point, this is where the big difference starts to happen. Some people will pass, some people will fail. And then what happens?
They'll do that pass, they go on to
they go on
a good college.
Yeah, and the ones that don't pass, maybe they might go on to college or might just not get into anything anyway. Just kind of maybe start running a business or something.
Yeah.
Right? Not to say that even if you don't pass, you can't still make it, because if you have a godfather, you're good. Or godmother. There's first a part where it's like more like jealousy starts to, brew in certain people.
Yeah.
And so for those that is not really jealousy, it's just like they just get busy with other things and their interest kind of shifts. When that happens, then there is now that point where everybody's kind of like, someone is somewhere in some city, wherever, and is thinking like, oh, this guy now is feeling like he's somewhat like the big deal now. He's like, he doesn't want to relate with us anymore. He's no more keeping in touch, or she's no more keeping in touch.
Yeah.
You start to look at where you are in life and start to wonder whether maybe that is the reason why this person is pulling away from you. Right?
Yeah.
That's for some people. Others are just kind of like, oh, I don't feel really like I'm where I need to be. I don't want to really be out there and interact with anybody because, I don't want people to know that things are not too good with me like that. This another category. I can make so many categories that I can list and list and list. And once people start to have this sense, a poor sense of like where someone is, like just have a poor sense of themselves. And once people start having that, or start feeling maybe truly, on the other flip side, feeling too high of themselves on the other side, you now have all the other different levels in between. Then that just ends up introducing differences. And I always kind of say this in anything you look at. Once you create differences, you've created a problem.
Oh yes, of course.
It's the same thing with religion. Once you have religions, Muslim, you have Muslims, Christians, Hindus, whatever. Once you create those distinctions, now you've created a problem. You see also in sex now, we only had male and female. It was bad enough. Then now we start introducing every kada in between. That one too again is another problem, and it's always a place for people to kind of like differ. And so it's still the same thing. Once you start to have that difference of like, oh, this one is successful, this one is not successful. Oh, this one is too godly, this one is not too godly. The other one. By the time you have set all these different criteria of how you kind of see people. Of course, we all can't satisfy every single box and we can't check every box. So it's either left for us to kind of say, irrespective of whatever these differences are that have been created and we can't do anything about now, let's just figure out how to kind of like work with it.
Yeah, but there's a period where I feel like from high school or secondary school into college, you're still trying to figure out who you are. As an individual.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like people from that stage, when they go from high school, secondary school to college, they might drop certain friends that they had in high school because maybe their mindset is still stuck in that high school, college thinking mentality, and they're maturing and in a different way as they're in college. That's what happens too. But let's talk about how do we make friends as an adult? Where do we even meet people to make friends? Besides work. Besides work, work friends, that's another breakdown of friendship. It's different from a category of friendship. Where do we go to meet people, to make friends? Through hobbies? I know you have your hobbies that you do, sports, you make some friends from there. I started trying to figure out what new hobbies in this stage of my life. I was like, let me try tennis. And from there, I started making a friend through tennis, or just joining different Facebook groups of things that I'm interested in. And I feel like putting myself out there is how I'm gonna make friends.
For me personally, I don't know if I make an effort to actually make friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always
stick to the ones you have. I prefer to stick to the friendships I have too. But
it's kind of an approach thing, right? It's not an approach thing for me as much.
It's a comfort.
It's just kind of sometimes you don't value it enough to really want to put in the effort to get into it, right? So I will explain that, and I will explain very well what I mean. Sometimes there are certain people you would meet. You guys just naturally
click.
You just have a natural, you guys can be from, one guy can be from Pakistan, the other one can be from South America. If you click, it's not going to be the accent.
Not force.
It's not going to be the accent. It's not. You just realize that you guys have a type of temperament and a type of aura about that. Once those two personalities are in the room together, they just want to be there talking to themselves and just chilling, they are excited about having themselves in there, within that environment.
Yeah.
But it's also the same thing.
But still, you have to still put yourself out there to find that. Like I said.
But that's why I'm saying you have to put regardless. It's not really an effort thing, right? It's more of having an open mind for it to be having the open mind for it to be a potential.
Yeah.
Right. But my point is, sometimes there are certain places you don't even feel like you really want to even bother trying.
Yeah.
Just because you know that you don't necessarily see the essence of it. Because you could, if you just wanted to have a meaningless relationship with somebody, you could do that probably at your workplace very easily. Because most people who are at your workplace, except you are in a place where interaction is a priority, the way it operates, then most likely, most of the friends or so-called people you interact with in the office never really translate into actual friends back at home. Meaning that you guys will never if you are doing work.
There's no actual
there's no time
connection or time
that after work.
Hours.
Yes, after work you guys kind of still connect. Maybe you visit each other's families or whatever. It's not a thing for many people.
Yeah.
But some people actually happens the other way, where they meet outside and maybe one starts to work at a place and gets the other one to start working at the place. So now they have dual basis for friendship. Basically, they were friends first, maybe from somewhere they met in a bar or whatever, or they met in the church. Let me say the opposite one too. But my point is, they met somewhere and then decide one decides to help the other, or they help themselves to get into the same job position. So it just gives them more time to be around themselves. But again, to me, I don't really build my career or my plans for future around friends. I feel like those friends that are really friends will stick around anyway.
That's true.
Right? And they are not going to judge you, even if you are not able to be present as much as they would like, and probably also the way they would like. Right?
Yeah.
But because that's just life.
But how do you tell if someone is worth pursuing a friendship? I feel signs of putting mutual effort, not just when you feel like it's just one-sided. It's just one person putting in the effort. Like me, I'm the one that's always texting you or calling you to see how you're doing, and to see when next are you available to meet up or to chat.
Yeah.
And that's a one-sided friendship because I'm not getting it from you. I'm always the one hitting you up. That kind of effort. It's that kind of friendship is something that I would put on a back burner and be like, okay, that's I'm someone that I want to even continue pursuing as a friend.
I'll be honest with you. I think
on a serious level.
Yeah, I'm very honest with you. I think that's the reason why I don't even have a long list of friends in the first instance. Because I feel like for me to be a friend to somebody, I used to usually try to see. I give everybody a chance to kind of talk. We talk as much as you feel like you want to talk. But how frequently, how pleasantly we have our interactions will be dependent on how much we gel. So, for example, there's some of my friends that we have common things that we are like involved in. We have commonalities. Either we like to talk about soccer a lot, or we like to talk about like politics, or we like to make music together, or we like to talk about entertainment industry. So when I talk to people that have commonalities, you don't have to have all the commonalities, you just have to have some.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it creates a meeting point for us to actually even interact.
Yeah.
And there's some people that even just because of this capability, right? It doesn't matter how infrequently you speak, the discussion is always going to be cordial and to be mature.
Yeah.
Irrespective of which space we take it to, whether it's humor or if it's like formal or whatever, we will be able to flow and work our dynamics well. The problem is it's not like that with everybody.
Yeah.
There's some people that are too awkward, and you stress out thinking about how you're going to handle the next time that you're in their presence. Because not like you don't.
It's like social anxiety.
In a way, but not, because social anxiety just means you are someone who does that.
In social
you just can't. You just don't like people. Period. You're not a people's person. That's just generally. But I'm just saying, there's just like certain people that kind of, if you have an aversion for certain people, not like you hate them, but you just don't enjoy their presence when they're there.
Right.
There's also those people. And so, but sometimes you try to be cordial and just be there because you just have to be there.
And sometimes I feel like when people are friends because of, there's always sometimes in some friendships I feel like there's a middle person.
Yeah.
Like one person is the one that brings a group of friends together.
Yeah.
And if that person is not there, some of them will not be actually friends together or hang out with each other.
Yeah.
I've seen those kind of situations.
No, and that's in some ways I think that can be fine. That can be fine. And the reason why I say that can be fine is
because your friendship you're loyal to that person. Sometimes where it goes wrong is if that person that introduced you to be friends with the other person, you after a while you become close to that person that they introduced you to as a friend in the friendship group.
Yeah.
And let's say that your friend that introduced you to that for a particular friend, they have their own issues, but you still go with that friend that they introduced you to. It's put you in an awkward situation.
That's true. That's correct.
I don't like that kind of situation.
There are always complexities, right? When you have a large group of friends that all interact. Like for me, let me even put it this way, right? In as much as like over the course of my life, I've kind of been the reason why a lot of people met and became friends.
Okay, so you're the middle person.
Yeah. I mean, I could actually say some people that you'll be so surprised that actually I was the reason why they met. But at the end of the day, it's not something I kind of see pride or take any pride in.
Yeah,
really, because I just feel like that's what life should really be.
Yeah.
And there's some people that actually are now closer friends than even me, who actually even brought them to
that has happened
themselves.
to me too before.
So all that I don't even have anything against. And sometimes even you have those ones that you did that, and then you are now actually not able to keep up with their own level of friendship, but you are now completely out of friendship, meaning that you guys are even enemies. So you see what I'm saying? Not enemy. I just want to kind of create the scenario here, but it's not like it's really enemy like that. But you're just not speaking anymore. You guys are not talking. But
they're still speaking to the friend that they introduced you to.
Yes, they are now.
You're speaking to the friend that they introduced you to.
So basically, you introduced them, and now they are off doing their own thing, and you now are like kind of like out of this stuff.
Do you think that's kind of betrayal of friendship?
That can be a betrayal. That's where we're going to kind of like tread a different path on that one, like, because it's a whole definitely now we start talking about
something like that happened in one friend I had that we were very close, and she had a friend that she was very close to, introduced me to her. They even came to spend time in my place. We've gone on trips, all that stuff, and then I don't know, some issue happened between them.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just became very awkward. But like social media was still kind of, we're friends on social media, but like I don't talk to the person out of respect from that friendship.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to know when to say it's, enough is enough.
Yeah.
It's not every friendship you can keep watering. It's not every friendship you can keep watering. There are some friendships are just meant to end when they end.
Exactly. Some friendships I feel like are seasonal too.
Yeah.
There's certain seasons that you were friends with certain people, and then after that season is done, then you're not friends anymore. Like one of my very, very close friends I had, I got married and had a child and all that. Like our friendship just shifted. I don't know why. Maybe it could have been because of we both had changed into different parts of our lives. So I was in a different stage of my life, and she was in a different stage of my life, different mentality. So our friendship just fizzled away. But it doesn't mean that we might not be friends again. Just maybe this stage of our life was just not meant to be friends, and that's okay. And that's not. I feel like I don't hold that like, oh, I don't like you, I hate you, or have some kind of bad blood towards you because we're not friends at this moment. I don't, because I just feel like maybe just at this point we're not supposed to be friends.
Yeah, it's really that simple, to be honest with you. Like, there's just too many people on this earth for us to be struggling to have people that we want to speak to.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think it's actually sometimes it can be actually a burden to actually have friends.
It is,
because there's a lot
of work. You
have to keep up to be friends. For the average people who want to be friends, they want you to keep up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
You want to be places. You want to go, do things as a group, time, moving with family, money being spent.
Exactly.
So it's like, it's quite tasking. So
It's very tasking.
And
that's why I love when I have friendships where they understand that when, life is busy, different things are going on, and we don't have to speak all the time.
Yeah.
When we do, we just pick right back up from where we left, and it feels like it doesn't feel like we've not been talking for a while. We just catch up and it's kiki and all that. So I love friendships like that we have an understanding.
Yeah.
But some people, they don't think like that. They feel offended and be like, we need to talk like every 2 weeks or whatnot. Like,
Yeah, I'm not equipped
we have
for
a life
that.
too.
I'm not equipped for that one.
Like, there's too much energy.
Yeah.
There's a lot more we could talk about when it comes to friendships, but we don't have all day to talk about that.
That is correct.
Well, I also want to just say that we should also just give friends grace, not hold them accountable if they don't, reach out, because we never know what people are going through in this life. They might be going through some dark times. No judgment, I feel like, especially if you really cherish that friendship.
Yeah. I agree. I definitely agree with that. I think we need to have a little bit more of, just like you said, like, less of an expectation, and don't hold people to a standard. Because a lot of times, like, I feel like even my temperament has kind of really changed a lot, because I try not to want to expect that people owe me anything. Like, people don't have to do anything. So yeah.
Alrighty then. No new friends, basically. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Always open-minded, about making friends, meaningful friendships in this life, because you never know where that friendship can lead you to, or why God may have brought that person in your life for certain reasons. So yeah. At the end of the day.
So now we wrap up.
Yes. So I hope you all enjoyed this conversation that we had about making friendships as an adult. If you have any thoughts on it, please leave a comment below. Send us an email. Our email's listed below on this episode. You We want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts on your experiences with friendships, navigating friendships as an adult, why you think it's hard, what's the hardest part of it. Yeah. And does, keeping friendships still matter right now? And as your life gets hectic, we want to hear from you.
Keep less friends.
Less friends is always the best, honestly. I can count the amount of friendships I have on my fingers. But to each its own.
To each its own.
Okay, so don't forget to follow us on our social media platform, Gisting with the Dims. And don't forget to subscribe so you can always get notification when we drop an episode every Tuesday.
Even if you don't want the notifications. It's Tuesday, 6 a.m. It's that simple.
Yeah. All right. Till next time, we'll be dropping next gist. Be safe. Peace.
Peace, my people.
Bye.
Gisting with the Dims.
You heard. It's Gisting with the Dims.